Hello and welcome back to some more Formula 1 2021 and another part of our Immersive Driver Career Mode. Today, we are taking on the Belgian Grand Prix with Mercedes, and over the last couple of seasons, we have had a big success here. Last year, we finished in second in the Grand Prix. The season before, we absolutely dominated the weekend for Ferrari. We weren't lucky not to win it last year. The season before that, we did actually finish inside the points. I believe, did we take a risk with the strategy in this race? I can't quite remember now. It all sort of blurs into one, but I'm looking forward to getting back out there. We have been fastest in all three practice sessions. There is some massive news. I will get to that in a minute. Some team changes, which has never happened really in this career mode unless we have moved ourselves. So I'm really happy to see that. You can see we have got the ultimate upgrade coming for the next Grand Prix, 1st of September. That is going to take us to being an even stronger team and on the path towards maxing out the car. You can see here that we have put in a fresh engine for the next couple of Grand Prix to try and make sure that we are in a competitive situation for these power circuits. But the news I wanted to talk you through is the fact that there has been a driver move, which I will suggest in a minute. But there is a retirement, first of all. Valterri Bottas will be leaving at the end of the season, so that's going to trigger a bit of a driver merry-go-round, and interesting to see who joins Red Bull. But this was something that I was completely baffled by, but absolutely delighted. Mick Schumacher has joined McLaren. He's replaced Christian LUNDGAARD, who I don't think was doing too bad a job, really. And he's went to Haas to replace Schumacher. But if you have a look at the driver standings, LUNDGAARD, you know, although he's not going to be in the top 10 by the end of the season, you wouldn't imagine. He is just outside it. He's had a couple of good Grand Prix recently, just finished 7th in Hungary, but they have brought in Mick Schumacher, and I tell you what, he has been absolutely rapid in practice. He has been quicker than Lando NORRIS, so I think Schumacher's going to come in and all of a sudden be a threat. Now, he's obviously not going to have enough time to turn around the Drivers' Championship. However, the Constructors, McLaren in a very good position in 6th at the moment. I think they're going to finish 3rd by the end of the season with Norris and Schumacher in there, because McLaren are the 3rd best team. Maybe LUNDGAARD has been letting them down slightly, and maybe that's why they've jumped. They've said, no, we need to get somebody in that's going to get these points, and they've went for Mick Schumacher. Let's see how we get on in qualifying, and especially how he gets on in qualifying. This is going to be an interesting one for the Belgian Grand Prix. Well, comfortably through Q1 with a decent time, but very, very sloppy, you would have to say. Max Verstappen quickest, Lewis Hamilton second. Let's see how we get on in Q2. Well, shall we take you on a lap of Spa-Francorchamps in this Mercedes car that's been feeling beautiful all weekend? Lewis and Max have come out on the soft tyres, so there's no real strategical gain from going out there on the mediums and starting the race on those, so let's just match their strategy and not take any risks in losing track position at the start of the Grand Prix and having to fight back. So we're straight out there on the soft tyres now. Let's see how we got on in Sector 1. It wasn't the cleanest run through Raidillon, but this is pretty good. We're not at our Q3 level of leaving everything out there on the track. We're trying to look after the tyres, make sure that they're not dead going into the race tomorrow. And also making sure that we don't make any mistakes and have to either put a second lap on these or come out on a fresh set. That's a pretty decent middle sector, already a second quicker than Sebastian Vettel. And this is a sector that we've been doing really well in. So let's see how we get on through this final bus stop chicane. We bring the car down to pace beautifully. And now we come round the final corner, we're on the accelerator and we're through into second position at 139.6, which that was a pretty nice final sector. You can see there is definitely time in the car that has been left on the table. But Max Verstappen quickest in Q2 again. Schumacher in the top 5 there, you can see him. So he's looking pretty good so far. I don't know where Lewis Hamilton is, so be interesting to have a look. We'll return to the garage. I don't think there's any chance of us being knocked out, so nice and comfortable at the very least. Lewis Hamilton, maybe not so, down in 7th. And he is only, well, I suppose 8 tenths ahead of Charles Leclerc, but, you know, he might struggle. So let's fast forward. I'm not going to be going out there again. Lewis has decided not to either. It'll be interesting to see this. Is anyone going to go ahead of him? It doesn't look like it. So, a very good top 10 there, and you can see Mick Schumacher 6 tenths quicker than Lando Norris. At the track that his father got his big break, Mick Schumacher is looking like a top-level driver, only 1 tenth slower than us in Q2. Let's see who wins in the battle for pole position. Here we go then on our first run at pole position. Let's see how we get on in this first sector. Decent first corner. We met the apex at La Source. And now heading up towards Eau Rouge and up Radion. And there we go with the DRS open. We are absolutely maxing out the car through the first sector. A little bit of curb on the inside, probably lost us a little bit of time, but we made up through it through there as we come down the hill, and that's always a section that you can really lose time. A little bit wide there, but managing to just stay in the track limits as we steam towards Pouhon, and we hold it virtually flat through there. A little downshift to help us through that, and you can see there is little sections where we can just make a little bit of time, but we are purple through sector 2 and 7 tenths quicker than Max Verstappen so far, who hasn't put his best time in. We are possibly going to dip into the 138 here if we can finish this off. As we go down into the bus stop chicane, we slow the car down beautifully. We come round the final corner and we head towards the line. Keep it nice and straight as we head over it. And it is a 138.9, and that is pole position for the moment. Lando Norris has put in the second quickest time so far. Lewis Hamilton in third. Bottas quicker than Verstappen. That is a crazy top 5, and you can see we can already make half a tenth. Oh, but we've lost it. We don't want to be out. Oh, we are out.
Are you okay?
Well,
turn the engine off and wait for the mark.
We were practicing, ready for our final lap, and we just got a little bit too much on the curb. We were trying to experiment with lines, and we lost the car. Tried to keep it out of the wall, but went into it, so we're not going to get another go at it. That could be crucial. That could be absolutely crucial. We walk into the garage. What is going to be the result here? Are we going to be on pole position or not? A dramatic finish.
And with qualifying,
and we are on pole position. Well, nobody could improve. And look at Verstappen.
With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, I mean, can you believe it? Pierre Gasly pipped Lewis Hamilton to P3. Valtteri Bottas was still P5 there. We've got pole position, even though we crashed out at the end of our qualifying. Mick Schumacher, a brilliant P6, his best ever qualifying. Max Verstappen, championship leader, down in P8. What an opportunity this is in the Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the captain. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
They've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far, but whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. The captain lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Mick Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Verstappen, Tsunoda, and Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel, and Stroll, Ocon, Russell, and Guan Yu Zhou, and Christian LUNDGAARD, Latifi, and Nikita Mazepin. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Okay, here we are, sat on the grid then. It is going to be the soft and then medium tyre strategy. We're going to take the fuel out of the car. We've got 11 laps around this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And it's a very, very short run up to La Source.
Good on the power unit cycle, so let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature.
It is Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly behind us, as opposed to Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. So, you know, it certainly is playing into our favour, but nobody can get onto this part of the track without having the slipstream behind them, and that is what Lando Norris will be open for today, to get right into our slipstream along with Pierre Gasly and try and force us wide at some point. So we're going to have to be careful about that. We also have to remember the last time we went up Eau Rouge or Radion is the time that we went into the barriers. So, you know, we haven't got the confidence there. But these tyres feel alright. I think they're going to do us well. We'll probably only do 3 or 4 laps, if that, and get those medium tyres on. We certainly don't want to be leaving ourselves open to any sort of undercut. So I think we'll be keeping an eye on that. Of course, it is cloudy out there. It could rain at any point. We could have a little listen.
Radar is clear. Weather is looking good for now. Dries seem like the best tyre for now.
He seems to say that it's going to be good weather today, but you never ever know around Belgium, and you can see there's the clouds are very low into these trees. There could be a spot of rain before the end of the day. That could just happen. But We will see. It's going to be ourselves on pole position. Lando Norris is in second with Gasly third, Hamilton in fourth. Bottas will be starting in fifth place. Mick Schumacher on his debut for McLaren will be starting in sixth. We've then got Fernando Alonso, I believe, in seventh, with Max Verstappen starting only eighth. So here we go, lining up into our grid position. Can we get a solid start here? That is what we're looking for. We're going to have the overtake button on, like we have been doing recently. And here we go. We are ready for the lights. Lights out, away we go here in Belgium. It's a decent start off the grid, but look at Pierre Gasly. What a start for him, and we force it down the inside. But it's going to be Pierre Gasly that leads out of the first corner. Lando Norris is in second there. We need to be very careful as we go up the hill. Make sure we get into the slipstream of Lando Norris and basically do to him what we hoped he wouldn't do to us on the opening lap of the Grand Prix, but we haven't got the straight line speed to outmaneuver Lando Norris, and he is ahead of us. And we've got Valtteri Bottas having a look round our outside. Lewis Hamilton has got off to a poor start as well. So now we're just going to have to settle back into the race and hope that we can get back past these two, because we should have the pace over them. But that was an intense start of the Grand Prix. We went down the inside, but it was far too deep into the first corner, and that allowed Pierre Gasly to get back on us, and we are losing time here to Lando Norris as Valtteri Bottas is having a little look at us. Mick Schumacher on his debut is there as well. Bottas round our outside now, and we're trying to hold him off, and this is not doing any good for our race strategy, because we are now 2 seconds behind Lando Norris. This is a disaster start for us. Well, we've managed to pull it back in the final sector. I'm just checking checking the vehicle condition. Luckily, we've picked up no damage in that opening lap on the underbody. But it is a disaster of a start for us, it has to be said, as we make our way up the hill. And it was just a panic. You know, Pierre Gasly got a wonderful start on the grid, and it's just blind panic that I felt I had to get down the inside. I didn't want to be exposed to Hamilton behind, but we just compromised our exit. But we're now settling into the Grand Prix. We're closing in on Lando Norris. We will have the pace to get past these two, but not a lot of laps to do it. That's the problem. We just got to try and settle down and make no more mistakes. Easier said than done. Well, we have DRS, but equally Lando Norris has it on Pierre Gasly as well. And it's going to be tough to get past him unless we're right in his gearbox like on lap 1, but he defended so well on that lap that we know it's not going to be easy. But we are pushing hard here, and I swear I've just seen a drop of rain. Maybe it's just psychological. Goodness me, we nearly sent it round there. Lost a little bit of traction. But we're okay.
Come in at the end of this lap.
We're gonna try for the undercut. We're gonna come in at the end of this lap. Or are we? Because we have closed in a lot on Lando Norris, so we are gonna keep going. Use the DRS.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
But I think we'll definitely come in this lap.
Pitting
no matter
this lap,
what.
then come into the pits at the end of this lap.
We'll basically do the opposite of whatever Lando Norris does. This isn't bad. We got our DRS open. We're using our ERS, but it's just not going to quite be enough. This is a much better start to the second sector than we've been having so far in this race, but these tyres are struggling to hold on here. And that's what's amazing about the PS5 controller. I can feel that, I can feel the vibrations on these tyres. I can feel that they're not wanting to stick to the track as much. But we seem to have Bottas dealt with. It's just these two are pushing so hard for their teams as well that we can't get past them. But I think we are going to come into the pits on this lap. We do seem to have so much more pace through Blanchimont.
And we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
But I think this is the perfect time to head into the pit lane. So here we go. We are coming round and into the pit lane. And Mick Schumacher... Oh, well, I thought it was Mick Schumacher. I thought somebody came in with us. Apparently not. Here we go.
Complete, go now.
Well, a slow pit stop. And I don't know why that was a slow pit stop. We held the clutch at what I thought was the perfect time. Maybe I need to reevaluate how I do pit stops, because
that was our last stop. No more scheduled pit
they
stops.
have all been slow recently. Oh, when we come out just behind Nikita Mazepin, that is not what you want to do when you're pushing hard for a race victory. Should be able to make light work of him, and we do manage to do that. Now, can we get past LUNDGAARD as well? Oh, he's defending to the inside, and well, that could have been a really bad moment. And goodness me, that was far too close. I mean, look at this. As we come, it's just a late movement in the brake zone from LUNDGAARD, and well, it's a pity that we couldn't see that from the other camera angle. You can see it on this one. He just goes to the inside, and that's a late movement. But we managed to go down the inside, and well, I mean, he deservedly gets overtaken by his teammate Nikita Mazepin now, so that's what he gets for trying to defend the person in the much quicker car that's fighting for this race victory. So Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris are in the pit lane. We are right behind Nicholas Latifi. What is going to happen here? We're going to have to watch ourselves as we come through this first corner. And there they are. That's Bottas. Well, Bottas nearly got us there.
4.3 seconds.
So Gasly has come out well ahead. And here's Latifi again. We should be making light work. Norris, though, hasn't got the DRS. So this is going to be our chance on Lando Norris. But again, like LUNDGAARD, he goes to the inside and pushes us a little bit out wide. That was good racing from Lando Norris. And it's Guan Yu Zhou just ahead of us. But Gasly, what a big winner he has been from this. And I suppose it's our slow pit stop that has made the difference here. We'd have probably come out ahead of Lando Norris and still been fighting for this race victory, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen now. Well, Lando Norris is having a little look at Guan Yu Zhou down the inside of Blanchimont, and he's lost a bit of momentum now as we now go down the inside. And we are through on Lando Norris. There's Pierre Gasly. So, we're back into second in this Grand Prix. And now, we're pushing hard to try and get Pierre Gasly. Guan Yu Zhou trying the switcheroo on us, but we should have better acceleration. I feel like there are drops of rain in the air. Who knows? But Guan Yu Zhou is going to have DRS, so we're going to go right over to the inside to try and stop him from overtaking us. Luckily, he seems to be slowing down Lando Norris, which is good. But now we're fully focused on the Frenchman Pierre Gasly, who inexplicably is leading this Grand Prix at the moment and is looking very, very good. Well, there are 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and we finally got into DRS range of Pierre Gasly, which will surely make him a sitting duck if we can get nice and close. But I don't think it's going to be this lap where we make that distinction. It's going to be a final lap manoeuvre if it is going to happen, or we stay close through this section and have a go into the bus stop and then give Pierre Gasly a chance. So it's all going to be tactics now for the next lap and a half as we try and work out the best way on the fly while trying to drive this wonderful racetrack of how we are going to overtake Pierre Gasly for the lead of this Grand Prix. Here we go then, on to the final lap of the race.
Final lap of the race.
The bad news is we're no closer really than what we were last lap. And the AI are very, very fast on the final lap of a Grand Prix. And that's just not going to be anywhere near enough, because we made a little mistake. And, well, it's all over now. Well, this is the section where we've been closing in on Pierre Gasly the whole race, but we're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be an amazing victory for him and an amazing missed opportunity for us. We were undoubtedly the fastest driver of the weekend, but Pierre Gasly is the one that's done it. He has won the Belgian Grand Prix. We finished second, and that
Excellent drive.
is a big disappointment from pole position.
Is a fantastic reward.
So another fantastic victory for AlphaTauri today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Our winners are heading to the podium right now. AlphaTauri have done an exceptional job when it comes to forging new talent and seeing them take home the victory. Today is a huge positive for the future of the sport. So, let's review the drivers' standings. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to the captain. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today, as they make their way up the standings. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, I'm not really sure how we got driver of the day. It was a tough start of the Grand Prix, and that's ultimately why we've lost it. And, well, perhaps if we'd had a perfect pit stop, we'd have been sat here with 26 points and really closing in on Max Verstappen. As it is, though, the way it's gone is as follows. We are 13 points behind Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton is 30 points behind, but still very much in it. Pierre Gasly up to 5th in the championship now. What a season he is having for AlphaTauri. They are up to 4th, and McLaren up to 5th. But I tell you what, AlphaTauri are in there, looking like they are quick in this end of season showdown. Yuki Tsunoda in the top 10. Mick Schumacher gets his first Formula 1 points in 7th. But Lando Norris really showing his qualities today. He really put pressure on us, and at times could well have won the race. But that is the way we are going to leave it today. That is a wonderful Grand Prix. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you did too. If you did, leave a big thumbs up down below. Subscribe for plenty more F1 content. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.